I think we're good. Hello, everybody. I'm here with my girl Anna. Yes, ma'am. That's her. Anyway, we're sitting in the Napa Dome. I don't know, most of you guys probably don't know my man cave here is a 40-foot geodesic dome. But anyway, I built this thing myself. All by myself. And now it's my shop. It's my man cave. But I wanted to show everyone some Neolithic trifacial points. You don't see too many of them, and some say they're easy to build and some say they're not. And I have to say the contrary if they think they're easy. I say go for it and try it. Anyway, I want to do a how-to video. No one's really done one that I know of. I have some specimen samples. I'm just going to get into that this time, and I'll do another video on the actual how-to, but I want to show you where I'm coming from first. Okay, so basically getting started on this, you want to take a long blade, as long as you can manage, and there's different ways to do that. One, you can take a opportunistic shot off of a square tab or something, and you can take long shots. Of course, the better the material, the better chance of survival you have for the long blades. Like you know, this is glass. Of course, it's pretty homogeneous, so it's pretty easy to take a long blade on there if you do it right. And then some other lower grade material, you have problems like this. You have problems like this. There's no problem taking a blade, but sometimes they'll just break up or do all kinds of weird stuff. Anyway, it's best if you got a good quality material. Georgetown works great, and you can take these long blades. You can take some long blades. They have a little curvature. You have to take some of that out. Some of them work. Some are too curved. Some are not. Just depends on the material. But you can still make trifacials out of them. And as you can see, the better the material, the straighter you can get them. The straighter you can get. Something like that. That's just straight as it comes. This is glass though, so you can have to be careful napping it. In fact, some of these smaller ones like this, you can be napping on one end of it, and you can actually end snap the other end just from pressure flaking. So you do have to be careful about that. Here's the start of my collection here. I can show you what I've been doing for the last 5 years probably. Anyway, there's some shorter ones that I started out with. I think this is some pancake. I'm not sure what that was actually. It's some Central Texas flint, some sort. Same. I think this one is Pedernales. And they typically have 3 sides. Well, they do have 3 sides. And what I've noticed what they do is they get their preform, they get everything pretty much in shape. And then when they finish the last grind, they grind each edge. And they take one final stitching from the very tip all the way up to the stem. They do the last sharpening stitch that way. They'll start here and go all the way down. So if you look close on most of them, the Neo examples, the ones in the museum or whatever, you can see that they come completely uniform and continuous, stitched all the way to the stem on all 3 sides. And then they have a stem, they do the same thing on the stem, but not necessarily as much. They clean it up some, but this one I made a while back. This is a keel cook, or whatever you want to call it. Burlington, probably more appropriate. The stem's a little long on this one, but that's the way it goes. You start at one end and you stitch all the way down from the tip all the way down to the stem, all three sides. I don't know how that got in there, but that was just a Clovis I made, or a balsam glass. It's like about 1 millimeter thick on the end of it there. Ain't not trifacial, but it's still cool. Anyway, we got mixed in here. Let's see. Here's some more. Another short one. Here's one I made out of root beer. It was a blade I took off the corner of a spall off of a square blocky piece. Root beer. That one was fun. That one came out nice. I was happy with that. Had some concrete in it. Turned out worked pretty good. Here's a Mucat sample. That one turned out really nice. I think that Mucat must have been cooked because it's pretty glassy. That turned out real pretty. I hope y'all can see this. I don't look like I have a flash on. Anyway, matter of fact, let's turn this thing around. See if I get some more light on this. Alright, there we go. That might help. Here's a piece of Novaculite. The cow stuff, you know, the black and white jersey Novaculite. This one's four-sided. We do the same thing with the trifacials, but it's quadrifacial. It's just a little harder to keep four sides, to gain control of four sides than it is three, mainly because the angles are already 90 degrees, and you absolutely have to work out of the bulb, percussion bulb, to continue to make these. So in that sense, they are a little bit harder. You might get lucky and find a piece of slab cut off, or somebody slabbed and, you know, just next to threw it in the trash, but most of the time they'll give it to you because they can't sell the stuff really. But anyway, they're fun. They're fun. But they're still hard to make sometimes. This is one of my favorite. This is Georgetown. It's one of my early ones. It's about 5 years ago. But this one came from a pretty blocky chunk. Pretty blocky chunk. This one wasn't favorable in the beginning. It was not a long blade, and it was just a chunk of rock. But finally got it straightened out, and I would say probably this is on the top 5 of one of my favorites. This one was cool. It turned out cool. It's thin, it's a needle. It is a needle. This one here, what was it, Burlington? No, this is blue, I don't know what you call it, Flint Ridge. Flint Ridge. Let's see if I can get it. This is a quadrifacial Flint Ridge. Got 4 sides, a little bit of blue on it. So that's a unique one. And right here, a snaky one. What the hell? I think I've got a blowout on overshot on one side or something. I must have, and just decided to follow it. So whatever happened there, but I kind of like it. It turned out pretty dang good anyway. Pretty good. All right, now here's some of the pieces. I used some glass on some. If it doesn't hurt to use glass, if you want to learn something, you use whatever you got. Use raw material, use, you know, tough material, you can use glass, crappy material. Sometimes I find if it's a little bit tough, it makes makes it a little easier. It's harder to snap them. If you got something like some raw Edwards churd, or maybe even like root beer, or something like that, buckskin, or then they're a lot easier. The glass stuff's a little harder because it's so dang fragile. But here's one I want to make, and you might notice it has a twist to it. It's a long one, but maybe you can see that, I don't know. But it's got quite a bit of twist to it. I'm gonna try to make 3 sides. I guess it'd be a Pandale knife trifacial, but I think Curtis Smith made one of those one time. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna try it with this glass piece. But it won't be so easy because one side's rounded, the third side is rounded, and I'll have to square that off just so I can stitch up and down through it. Now, I also tried another method. These were pressure flaked. Some of them I started out with indirect, which worked out pretty good, but you got to be careful when you do indirect. Sometimes you blow out the back end. I mean, you can overshoot real easy, so you want to make sure you keep your finger on the other edge and squelch the blow so you don't blow it out. You want to dampen it. This one I did with a punch. This one was actually punched. This is my first all 100% punched trifacial. It's about, I think it's about 9 inches long. It's a little thicker than the others, but I thought it was cool. Pretty strong. I think that's pretty strong. All right, now you stay in here, girl. Coyotes are bad tonight. They are singing. My dogs are going crazy. Here's coyotes. We better watch it. They better not get too close around here. My 45 on the corner right there, if I need it. Anyway, there they go. All right, I'm gonna take a break. Got some coyotes singing. Okay, we're back. Sorry, we had to take care of some coyotes down the road. Somebody ran over a buck, big buck. Been there for about 2-3 days, and the coyotes are after it now. Anyway, here's some other samples, some of my collection. These are some of my best ones. My opinion, these were my favorite. Plus that little Georgetown one right there, and Moo Cat. I like them all. But anyway, here's a couple of interesting ones. This one's a little over 10.5 inches long. This one's made the traditional way. It's just glass, which is sometimes pretty hard to do without breaking end snap. If you're napping too hard on one end, you're pressure flaking too hard on one end, you'll snap the end of it off, no problem. That's easy to do. So you do have to be careful. A little over 10.5 inches. That's a needle. It was not fogged. This was taken from a blade I made. I took the blade off of a big slab of glass. It's over here somewhere. And I'm happy with that. That came out wonderful. Okay, and then here's a couple more right here. This is an interesting one, right? This is interesting. It's made of silica ingot. It's what they use to make microprocessors with in the chip industry. That one was mostly fogged because you can't nap that stuff worth of crap, really. It just doesn't do well. it shatters and skitters off and does all kinds of weird stuff. But it was fun to fog one out and then finish it off. It looks awesome. Looks like metal. Looks like flake metal, which is pretty dang cool, if you ask me. I always thought that stuff looked nice. Here's a piece right down here I think I got. Here's what it is. That's the surface after they cut it, whatever. But you can flake it off, and man, it has some pretty cool surface. It looks metallic. That's pure 99.99999 silica, SiO2. Don't get no cleaner than that. Don't even get that clean naturally. But that's what it is. Okay, and this one was pancake. This was what they call buckskin, I think. They're just like flat frisbee shaped, nodules. I did cut the end of it off. I cut it in half and then sliced a piece of it in four-sided piece. If I was going to slice it, I should have probably took a 45-degree angle and it would have made things easier, but I had to go from a four-sided piece of rock, cut one side down, merge two sides down to one side, which ended up being harder than if I would have probably just started from scratch. Anyway, it turned out pretty cool. It turned out really nice once I got done with it. That's long. That's one of my records. I think all of these are pretty much the same length. But this glass one's a little bit longer than all of them. So I would say that glass one right there will be my record. That's my record. It looks pretty cool too. The tip turned out just kind of whack. So that was pretty cool. Look at that. Looks like water. Looks like clear water, Caribbean water. Wish I was there. But they're pretty neat. Got a stem on it. Alright. They say they use these in order to get underneath the thick blubber of seals and these fat animals in the Arctic, so they could get down deep and get to their vital organs, and they needed that. Apparently this trisection worked. He was able to get through. Some of them even called them arrows, and they just put a force shaft on there, and I don't know if they used them like harpoon, or did they, use bow, or atlatl, or whatever. Yeah, I'm not sure what they did. But a lot of these you can see good examples in the Danish National Museum, Museum of History. They have a lot of samples like that you can use and get reference off of, and that's what I use to get reference how to build these things. Anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to do, was just show off my collection of my samples. I'll show you how to make them soon enough. I'm going to make another video, and hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed making them. Thanks, everybody. Good night. Nah.